Well, millions of people worldwide have now seen the movie Jesus Revolution. The box office hit introduces audiences to a young pastor named Cathe Laurie and his wife, Cathe. Wendy Griffith talked with the couple about the real events behind the movie and about the possibility of another Jesus Revolution in the making.
This thing that we found, I feel like I belong.
You're gonna need a bigger church.
Jesus Revolution takes viewers back to the late 1960s for the beginning of a spiritual awakening when thousands of hippies put down their drugs, picked up their Bibles, and followed Jesus.
Hey, Cathe!
No.
Come here! I think there's a guy who wants to meet you.
It's also the story of two young people who met, fell in love, and became pioneers of the Jesus movement.
See, I would rather expand my mind.
That couple, Greg and Cathe Laurie, who celebrate 50 years of marriage next year, never dreamed that part of their life would one day be featured on the big screen.
I think one of the unique features of this film is it's a multi-generational movie. Like, I've heard so many stories of the grandparents, the parents, and the kids, and even the grandkids coming, and all of them connecting to some aspect of the movie because there's so many stories woven together.
As for the movie version of their love story, the Lauries say the writers and producers got it right, although they did break up several times before finally making it official.
Did her dad ever warm up to you?
Oh, yeah. No, I had a great relationship. His name is Dick. I called him Dad. And I put myself in his shoes. I come walking into their house. I had hair past my shoulders, a full beard, and a red beard, by the way. Yeah. So I come walking in, and he's kind of, who is this guy wanting to date my daughter? And when I finally asked him for permission to marry his daughter, he very calmly said, no. And he told me why. But, you know, when we did get married, you know, they warmed up.
So, Cathe, when did you know that Greg was the one?
She's still asking that question. We're closing in on 50 years, so.
It was a conclusion I came to, even though I was only 17, after having broken up 2 or 3 times, that I had these spaces when we weren't dating that I would sort of look at the landscape of the guys I knew. I always was comparing them to Greg, and I was like, that's what I want. I want a guy who knows what he wants, knows he's following Jesus first.
This is Pirates Cove, a very windy Pirates Cove, where they filmed those powerful baptism scenes in Jesus Revolution. But for Pastor Greg and Cathe, this was more than great filmmaking. They lived it.
This is where we did the baptisms and still do them today. It's almost like it was a character in the film in a way, because the movie starts with it. In the middle section of the film, my character, played by Joe Courtney, is baptized by Lonnie Frisbee, played by Jonathan Rumi. It's a big moment, and then it's there at the end. I think the reason those baptism scenes work so powerfully is because God was at work while we were shooting them. On one occasion, when we were shooting the scene with Greg and Lonnie, where Greg prays with Lonnie, extras were coming to Christ and wanting to be baptized for real.
For the Lauries, the Jesus movement never really ended. Greg went on to be the pastor of Harvest Christian Fellowship near LA and draws thousands to his Harvest Crusades. When asked if we're going to see another Jesus Revolution in America, they are cautiously optimistic.
I hope so, and I pray so, and I feel if we don't see one, I tremble to think of what our future is and the collision course we're on right now on so many levels. On geopolitical issues, what's happening around the world, the threats to our nation, the threat to the stability of world peace.
I will say there is a huge desperation.
Yeah.
I sense it among the young people in our church, the young adults in particular. They are longing for a real experience with God, and they want to experience that in worship and in people getting saved.
Pastor Greg believes true revival starts with the individual.
So if you want to see a revival, do revival-like things. Stop waiting for some emotional experience. Just go out and do what God's called you to do. Only God can send a revival, but only I can preach the gospel.
You might expect this faith couple with 50 years of ministry behind them to start slowing down a bit, but the Lauries seem to be getting a second wind.
Yes, the movie has sort of opened some unusual doors and given us a much wider platform, and now that it's going to be going international,
now Cathe's getting recognized.
More people.
They literally pushed me away.
They
want to talk to
did.
Cathe.
Yeah, right. Not. But I just want to do what God wants me to do until he says, we're going home now. We're done. And there are times when, when the work is intense and we're very busy and we do get tired at times. But I do feel more passionate about sharing the gospel. And we have the answer. We have this treasure hidden in these vessels. It has brought me back to those early days of what it was like to be passionately in love with Jesus, to the point where I had to tell people.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Los Angeles.
You feel like you're an outcast.
Well, you can now watch Jesus Revolution from the comfort of your own home. It's available on a number of digital platforms, and you can find that information on cbnnews.com. And you can also find a wonderful documentary called The Asbury Awakening. If you, like me, are praying for a new revival, I want you to see this film. It's our latest release from CBN Films. It has eyewitness accounts, exclusive footage, and it tells the story of how an ordinary college chapel service turned into a worldwide phenomenon. And as you watch it and as you hear people talk about their experiences, you will have your own experience with God. It literally comes off the screen into your heart and into your spirit. It's yours for a gift of any dollar amount. So if you want to instantly unlock streaming to it on the CBN Family app, call us right now, 1-800-700-7000. We'll also mail you a DVD, but you can get instant streaming access today. All you have to do is call us, 1-800-700-7000, say, I want the Asbury Awakening, or you can go to cbn.com and you can get it there. Now, I believe, just as Cathe Laurie said, revival begins with you, and you can have revival in your life. And we have something for you that's completely free, no obligation at all. FREE. It's a digital download of a booklet from my father, and it's called Steps to Revival. In it will show you how you can have revival in your own life, how you can experience God on your own, and in that, you get the wonderful joy, and that joy overflowing that you want to spread it to others. You can download a free copy today at cbn.com/revival.